Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Dimension X Space Gear Turtles. That's right, it's another round of variants of the Fab Four, straight out of the current season of the Nick Turtles cartoon series, featuring all four members of the team wearing their brand new spacesuits. So let's go ahead and check them out. As you can see, each of the turtles comes on their individual blister card packaging. Each of the blister cards features that brand new Dimension X logo artwork at the top, and we also get some individual new artwork pieces of all four of the turtles in their spacesuits as they appear in the cartoon series. If you flip those boxes around to the backside, we are also treated to some brand new bios for each of our Space Gear turtles. And down below that, we get a look at some of the other figures in the current line from Playmates Toys. Alright, so if you've already watched my review of the Target exclusive 5-pack, some of this information might be a bit of a repeat. We got this same four turtles released in that box set wearing VAC metallized space armor. However, there are some differences with these particular four turtles that we are going to go over here today. So let's go ahead and start by taking a look at the action figures themselves. What's cool about these figures is they all feature some brand new removable space gear. And as I said, this is the space gear that they are now wearing in the current season of the cartoon series. So if you're caught up with the show, this is very familiar to you. And it's pretty cool to see these guys get refreshed in this brand new armor. I'm always a fan when the variants of the turtles actually have a reason for having variant figures. When they have these outfits that appear in the cartoon series, I love that I can get some toys of that. And the armor looks very cool on these. Now, we already looked at the Target exclusive 5-pack, and as I said, all of the armor bits were a VAC metallized color. So they were bright and shiny silver, as well as some nice shiny colors that matches their signature bandanas. On the individual releases, these are a little bit more cartoon accurate, where the space armor is done in a pearlized white plastic. And I really love that pearlized shine, because as you can see, especially under certain lights, all of that white plastic really has a nice glisten to it. Definitely gives it a very cool kind of spacey or futuristic look. Now, we have very minimal paint apps with it. You'll notice that the only place that the armor is painted is on the torso. They have some nice colors on there that matches their bandana, so orange for Mikey, red for Raph, blue for Leo, and purple for Donnie. And then, of course, the belts and the leg armor also match their signature bandanas. Now, those pieces are also done in a bit of a shimmery plastic, so it's not just a flat color. You'll notice that the orange and the red, the blue and the purple have a bit of a shine to them. However, again, no extra paint applications. And that is a bit of a bummer, as I really like the design and the sculpt, and I absolutely love the pearlized white. However, some more added paint details on this armor really would have made it stand out even more. So it's a bit of a bummer that it looks so basic, especially on the colored bits. I think that's where it really loses it the most. Extra paint on the belts and the colored bits of armor on the thighs would have really helped here. Now, I mentioned that the armor is removable, so that is really cool, and let me show you how that works. I'm going to do it with Raphael here. First of all, the visors can open on the actual helmets, which I really love. You've got the ability just to kind of open up the translucent visor there, so that way you get better access to the head, which also allows you to rotate the head's articulation in case you need to turn their head before clipping the helmet back down. So that's pretty cool. But in addition to that, you can also just pull the torso armor right off the figure. It just comes right over, just kind of sits over their shoulders, so it's very easy to remove. You can also unclip the armor from the arms. It's a bit loose fitting, but it stays on fine. You'll notice it will roll around a little bit, and of course when you bend the arms, you're going to have to kind of move it around a bit. But that pops right off. Then we have the little claw pieces on the hands, which are very cool. Those just slide right off the hands. And that right there is... And then we've got the armor on the legs, which just, again, clips on, very similar to what we saw with those wrist pieces. So you can just kind of pop those right off of there. And that is all we get for removable armor. The belts themselves are meant to stay on the figures. They don't really move a whole lot. However, you can kind of move it just a little bit, and you can slide it down, but you might have to work a little bit to get it off the legs if you really want to. And it does leave this weird little indent in the turtles where their belts should be. So the belts I don't think are necessarily meant to come off. However, this does show something pretty cool. And again, if you already saw my review of the Target 5-pack, it's the same thing here. All of the bodies on these turtles are exactly the same as the bodies on the Battle Shell turtles, which means if we slide this belt down, it even exposes the opening shell. Now, we don't have any weapons to store on the inside on these particular turtles, but it's kind of interesting that they just use those same bodies and the old shell opening action feature is still intact. So, just something kind of neat worth noting. Now, the only real difference here, of course, is the head sculpts. The head sculpts are different from the Battle Shell turtles. However, they also are different from the versions in the Target 5-pack, which I was really surprised by. I think the only one that might be the same is Donatello, though the paint jobs do look a little bit different. However, you're going to notice that all the other ones, Mikey, Raph, and Leo, are very different from the Target exclusive 5-packs. Leo is not smiling like he is in the 5-pack. However, Raph is smiling now, which is a bit of an odd choice for a Raph head sculpt. But yeah, it's kind of neat to know that the head sculpts on the individual carded figures are different from the figures in the Target exclusive 5-pack, which are still mostly different from the ones on the Battle Shell figures. So, kind of some cool information to have. So, aside from that, articulation is pretty standard. If you've got the Battle Shell turtles, you know what to expect. Ball joint at the head, so it can roll all the way around. The ball-like hinges at the shoulders. Arms can go outwards, forwards, and backwards. You got swivels at the elbow, standard elbow, swivel at the wrist. You have the same hinge-like joints at the thighs, so legs can go outwards, forwards, and backwards. Swivels at the knee, and standard joints at the knees. So you can get some pretty decent poses with them. Again, like always, the turtles got the better end of the deal when it comes to articulation. However, when you do have all of the armor clipped on, it will hinder the movement just a tad. So each of the turtles do come with their signature weapons, and they are their new spacey weapons from the cartoon series, which is really neat. So they're not the standard weapons that we always get, and they're done in a translucent plastic that matches their signature color, which I really love, because they do kind of have a lasery type effect in the show. So Raph's got some really cool signature size. Mikey's got the great little like tonfa type weapons instead of the nunchucks, which is pretty cool. We've got the really cool new sci-fi looking swords, the katana blades for Leonardo, and then we've got the really cool sci-fi looking bow staff for Donatello. All of these weapons are very cool, and one thing to note about these, and this is the same that we saw in that Target exclusive 5-pack, the claw armor on their hands will get in the way sometimes of getting them trying to hold their weapons. It's definitely the hardest with figures like Mikey and Raph, who have kind of the thicker handles there. You can get the weapons in their hands, but they don't get a super good grip on them. So you probably will find yourself more times than not actually removing the claw pieces from the hands so that you can really plug in the weapons properly. So I have mentioned the Target exclusive 5-pack multiple times, and it's pretty cool to see these guys side by side just to see the differences here. Also, I do find it pretty neat that those head sculpts are different, as I mentioned before. But here's something else that's pretty fun. I kind of found this out while I was playing around with them. The white pearlized armor on the single carded figures is a little bit more cartoon accurate. However, I found the colors of the belts and the thigh armor to be a little lacking since they were lacking in paint. But if you do a little bit of part swapping with that armor, the pearlized white armor actually looks really good with the vac metallized belts and leg armor. So if you mix those two together, you can get some pretty sweet looking variations of the Space Gear Turtles. So I thought that was fun, and I definitely wanted to share that with you guys. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the brand new Space Gear Turtles from Playmates Toys. Overall, I think these are fun toys. Bottom line, they're fun. I like the armor. The removable armor is a neat feature, and they look pretty cool. However, the lack of paint on the armor, especially on the colored bits, really does hurt the overall appearance of these figures. They could look so much cooler if they had some extra details on that armor to really make it stand out. But as it is, they're pretty neat, and it's also cool that we have two different ways to get these, either in that Target exclusive 5-pack with the vac metal armor, or this standard release here. Or if you're like me, you'll just get both versions and add them to your collection. But hey, then you can do that fun mix and match that I showed you guys. So these figures are hitting store shelves right now. So happy hunting, my friends, and until next time.